Just 2 days after the fascists took over the Terran colony of Deanna, the colony's local public access digital information network came back online, cut off from the rest of the galaxy-wide Terran interweb. Oddly, searches for various information resources and service websites came up as omitted, deleted, or missing. And many keyword searches routed users to a massive new online resource named Patriot Web, the reliable encyclopedia of everything that matters. Predictably, its purpose was to put a rose-tinted propaganda virtual reality mask over the captive public's eyes. Meanwhile, Gary Beck and Cindy Mae Winter were enjoying a dinner with their friends aboard the Lode Runner Celeste as prepared by Bubba. As they ate, lounging in the comfortable new chairs on the bridge, they watched the local TV news channel, Deanna News Network, or DNN, displayed on the big screen, taking everything they saw with a shovel full of salt and discussing their thoughts about these unsettling goings-on openly between themselves. The post-evening news current affairs discussion was interrupted by the start of a regular social chat show in its usual slot, but missing its regular anchor, who was probably either in hiding or had been, otherwise, detained.
Good evening, Deanna. I'm Sheila Clark, standing in for Michelle Gantry, and welcome to Upfront. Tonight, we'll be talking to prominent local political analyst Dr. Parker Vanyan about Deanna's change of government and what it means to you, the Deannan citizen. Dr. Vanyan, just 2 days ago, Deannans watched with disbelief and perhaps understandable shock as the Deannan Republican Army took control of their cities and the colony. How do you think Deannans should process this historic event?
I'm afraid that's a misconception that you pointed out right there, Sheila. People are under the false impression that some sort of military coup has taken place, but nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is that it wasn't a foreign army that came to Deanna to overthrow some kind of legitimate government. But what people saw on DNN 2 days ago was the military wing of the Deannan Service League. A local social institution stepping onto the public stage to defend the interests of the common working-class Deannan citizen.
If I understand you correctly, Dr. Vanyan.
Please call me Parker.
All right, Parker. If I understand you correctly, the people who make up the Deannan Service League are locals. People who have lived on Deanna for some time?
Yes, that's absolutely 100% right, Sheila. General Klain has gone on record, in yesterday's Atro City Times, I believe, to say that every member of the DSL and the DRA has lived on Deanna for a minimum of at least 2 years. The generally accepted period required to register as a permanent resident of the previous colony, as I think you know?
Yeah.
And further, Klain also pointed out that more than 50% of the DSL's members have been living on Deanna for 5 years or longer, with 90.5% of those having been lifelong residents who were born here. Make no mistake, and the audience tonight should make no mistake. This is a patriotic movement we're looking at, not some kind of wishy-washy terror cell that just wants to blow up buildings and kill innocent people. People, discerning, God-fearing, intelligent people should be able to tell the difference.
Good point, Parker. And that brings me to your CV, which is very impressive, by the way. Lists a doctorate in exopolitical science, a master's in exosociology, and degrees in various other fields, including theology. And as an independent political analyst, you seem to be an expert in exactly this subject.
Well,
you seem to be implying that Deanna, the people out there watching this show, should relax and adopt a wait-and-see attitude?
That's very true, Sheila. That's exactly what I'm saying. We shouldn't be hasty or do anything rash. We should give McMillan and the DSL a chance to prove themselves.
Parker, as an independent analyst, aren't you supposed to be impartial and objective?
Naturally, and I believe I am. After conducting some research of my own into the DSL and the players involved, I believe I've maintained an objective stance on current events.
Would you care to elaborate on that? Why do you think people shouldn't be hasty to judge the DSL and Professor James McMillan, the newly announced Chancellor of Deanna?
Well, Sheila, polls conducted over the past 2 days have shown that Deannans were at first sharply divided over the new government. Some Deannans have been mourning the death of Prince Justin and the fall of the colonial government. But by far, the polls have shown that most people have accepted that we are in a transition period to a new government, a local, independent government. Look, it's all over our local social media. People are mainly concerned about their currency value. Will they still have money in the bank tomorrow? And will these events cost them any of their buying power? Will taxes increase? And will anything really change to affect them? People appear to be saying they don't really care who is in charge as long as their interests are looked after by whoever is in charge.
So you're saying Deannan's interests are safe with the new government? In the hands of Chancellor Macmillan?
Absolutely. Chancellor Macmillan is a well-known local academic figure. He's not stupid. Come on, you have to give the guy some credit. The man holds 3 degrees in extrasolar economics and a master's in political science. He's a very smart man, and he lives up to all the ideals he and the Deannan Service League were promoting right up to our independence. Aside from that, he's as clean as a whistle. He's lived on Deanna for over 2 decades without getting so much as a parking ticket. The Republicans hold racial purity in high esteem, and he's of pure Eurocentric stock going back at least 12 generations, a formally registered lifetime member of the Deannan Reformed Puritan Church.
So he's a Christian then?
Absolutely. Until recently, that didn't mean much around here. The previous colonial government made a mockery of justice and government by excluding God from the state. How can we conceivably hold on to morality, justice, and good governance without having God in all those things? It's just not possible, and I've always said so. From now on, at least according to the DSL, the government will include references to God in seminal documents of state, like a new constitution and a new all-inclusive Bill of Rights that, according to everything I've seen and heard, will protect everyone's religious freedoms.
How do you see these changes affecting the ordinary people of Deanna? How will it affect you and me? Will we still have a constitution and a Bill of Rights?
Well, Sheila, I would say that depends on what kind of person you are. If you're a law-abiding citizen of the new republic, a person of good moral character, you have nothing to worry about. The Constitution of the Republic will be geared towards protecting good people from the bad. On the other hand, citizens will have rights, but perversions and morally unacceptable behaviors will not be protected or catered for. If you're in any of those categories, well, let's just say you're going to find yourself dancing in a dark corner without any music.
I see. Do you believe that Chancellor Macmillan and his new patriotic government is the right thing for Deanna at this time?
Unequivocally. The previous government was an obscene puppet show, with a puppet governor representing a tyrant light years away from us. It brought us all unhappiness, inequality, and terrorism that resulted in the untimely and unfortunate death of Prince Justin. Do you know that under Governor Landry, Deanna sent almost 85%, more than 2/3 of its minerals and other produce, to the Terran Empire, leaving honest, hard-working Deannans to struggle to survive on less than 1/3 of everything they produced? That's not fair, is it? Expecting honest, hard-working, decent folks to support beneficiaries light years away that did nothing to deserve it. Further, do you know what's become of ex-Governor Landry?
No? Has he been seen since the assassination on Lupini Square 2 days ago? Do you know?
I don't know either, and that's exactly my point, Sheila. Nobody knows what happened to him. Instead of coming out peacefully to meet the parade organized by the DSL on Lupini Square, after they arrived, unfortunately too late to save Prince Justin from that terrorist attack, Landry and his accomplices simply vanished. In fact, I wouldn't be even the least bit surprised if Landry and the mayors of Atro City and San Fedora and that incompetent female former sheriff of Atro City had a hand in the assassination itself.
That's quite shocking. Do you really believe that?
Absolutely. Of course, that's just my opinion at this point. The DSL haven't said anything public about that yet.
A lot of people on Deanna seem to think the DSL is responsible for the assassination of Prince Justin. Are you saying they weren't?
That's just ludicrous. I sincerely doubt the DSL would kill a relative of the Terran royal family. After all, what would be gained by it? If they wanted to take power, it could be done without such a public display of violence, don't you think?
Of course. But you just called the assassination a terrorist attack, which coincided exactly with the DSL's rise to power. Who else do you think would be behind it? I mean, if not the DSL?
Why, all the usual suspects, of course. The Jimwayans, who else? Humans on Deanna opened their arms, their hearts, and their cities to these off-worlders, and this is their gratitude? Our cities are full of them, but none more so than Atro City itself. The DSL has very clearly said in a media briefing yesterday morning, I believe, that restoring justice and honest, responsible government of the people and a return to moral values is their highest priority.
And to sum up, you think Professor Macmillan, who just arrived at the governor's palace this morning—
Actually, I believe it's the Chancellor's Palace now, as of yesterday.
Sorry, my mistake. The Chancellor's Palace, this very morning. Is he the right man for the job?
James Macmillan is a strong leader who knows what he wants. He's spoken at length about his long list of political, economic, and social reforms that will help us put God back in government, to make government fair and just, and to make Deanna great again. People all over Terran space are historically sick and tired of setting up colonies in deep space, building them up to be safe and decent places to live, and then having the whole thing go to pot. Because when they do, you have decent working-class human beings being discriminated against, unable to find work because some outsider came along and stole their jobs. And when they try to stand up for themselves and to protect their families, they get smacked down by politically correct snowflakes and imperialist puppets enforcing oppressive and unjust laws on them. People just trying to do what's right and good and in keeping with decent godly moral values end up getting publicly flogged in social media by snowflakes for offending inhuman privilege. Sure, this is a delicate time. Yes, we don't all know Macmillan, but you know what? Things are going to get better from here on out. Just give Macmillan a chance. After all, he legitimately won power by overthrowing a corrupt foreign government based in the illegitimate control of a monarch situated on the other side of the galaxy. If you want to have things your own way again, go ahead and organize a revolution of your own. It's our turn now. Macmillan won. Deal with it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Give Macmillan and the DSL a chance to make Deanna great again. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these important messages.
This is pretty scary shit.
Tim sighed in the uneasy silence after watching that disturbing spectacle.
Look, I know it's all propaganda. I mean, that's obvious, right?
Right.
Bubba, Vic, Gary, and May chorused.
But how will people in the cities watching this stuff see it?
Tim continued.
How many are going to believe it? How many are really that gullible?
They're subtly influencing people who don't know any better, or who don't want to know, to believe that everyone is siding with them.
May explained.
The statistics, the opinion polls, the expert opinions from people on their payroll. It's all made up. It's an old technique, but effective.
It's frightening, it's true.
Gary Beck added in a serious mood.
These are very frightening times. A lot of people are going to buy this bucket load of crap at face value. Too many for my liking. But not enough to stop us from taking the world back from the fascists.
Oh man, that Deanna used to be a real nice place to visit and lay over on long-haul trips.
Dear muttered sadly.
It's a real shame this had to happen. You reckon there's going to be enough left of it, Mr. Beck?
Yes, I believe it.
Gary nodded, a confident smile slowly spreading on his lips.
More than we know.
What will happen to our friends? Will Deanna be free again? To find out, you'll need to read Prodigal Son, High Stakes, Underground Movement, Xanadu, and The Last Hurrah by South African writer Christina Engler. All the books in the Quantum series are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook formats. You can find them by clicking on the links below, or you can view her listing on Amazon.
Soon across the galaxy, stars are our playground. Quantum leap and feel so free in this cosmic town. Aliens and laughs galore, far out in deep space.